Howdy, this is Jimmy. Thanks for joining me today for this talk. We're going to talk about the internal rite of passage. Another way of framing this is growing up, becoming mature, becoming sovereign within yourself, understanding you're in charge, okay? There is no authority above you. That's fantasy, slavery stuff. I want to try and explain what a real man and a real woman looks like, because we did not grow up with an example of men or women, okay? We grew up with examples of permanent children. Adolescence. When we were children, we were being raised by children. And there's this continuous trickery going on in this realm where it's all about the continuation of childhood over and over and over again into each phase of life. Continue to be a child and never grow up, never take responsibility for what you are, for what's going on around you. It's this idea that there is no authority above you, okay, externally, right? In reality, a man is never ruled by another man. That's the way I see men. They're independent and able to figure things out, and they have their own sovereign mind, their own sovereign kingdom. Same with women. They're the final say. There is no external voice that you look to for authority. There is no God there to save you. There's no God in control where you could just sit there with your hands tied behind your back and keep telling yourself, one day God will fix it. God's in control. I'm telling you, that whole God story, it's about you acting like a loyal dog and not being a human, not reaching potential, not becoming what you came here to be. This is going to be a hard talk for all of us. We've all been stymied. We've all been stopped from growing up from day one of being born into this realm. All of your schooling has been to take away your sovereignty, to make you stupid and dependent, okay? You got to understand, going through school as a child, it was there to harm you. It was there to hurt you. And it just blows my mind to still see people sending their children to school to brainwash them and take away this spark of who they are and what they could be. It's all about destruction of the creative powers within somebody. That's what school is about. It's all about looking to an external authority for answers for the rest of your life. When you were in high school, I'm sure you started to realize there's all these different social groups I could join, right? There's all these groups that were made up in school. You had jocks, right? The people who played sports, the muscle guys, the people who lifted weights. You had the nerds, right? The people who studied things and nerded out on their computer or whatever. You had video game people. You had druggy people. You had popular people. They just wanted to, had people look at them. There was the pretty people. There was the ugly people that were kind of outsiders, right? There's like all these different categories and groups that you could hang out with in high school. And the people that run this realm, oh man, they know what they're doing when they send a child to school. They're preparing you to stay in that mindset the rest of your life. Because when you get out of school, guess what? It's time to join another group. Right? I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican. Right? I'm a red or I'm a blue. Right? There is no, hey, I'm independent and I choose my own life option. That's not what you're taught here. You're taught to obey. And if you're not into obeying government, there's all these other things to have authority over you that are false here. Money, the green god of money. There's just a lot of losers out there that all they do is seek money, right? When I talk about an internal rite of passage, it should show externally. It will show in all the actions you take for the rest of your life. It's a very deep thing. It's that realization that you are the final authority. You have the final say. At least in your life, all right? I'm not trying to act like a man gets to prance around and command everybody else on how to live. That's not a man, okay? That's a demon. And we're surrounded by demons faking that they're human or they're men, all right? We've got a lot of fearful cowards doing what they're told, following orders, falling in line, just like a little child would, right? Like their little child at school following their orders. Still, when you have your internal rite of passage and you understand within yourself, you're sovereign, you're the king, you command your body, you command your mind. There is nothing above you, okay? That was for child times. That's for when you were not grown up yet and there was no way to be in charge. You were still learning how to talk. You were learning how to walk. You were learning what's going on in the world, right? There's a point at which you need to grow out of that and understand what is actually going on and do it. It's not an eternal state looking to somebody else, okay? That's the problem in this realm. Adult babies crapping their diaper all day long and crying to mommy, daddy, government to change their diaper. Or it's mommy, daddy, religion, oh God, fix the thing. I'm not in control of my own life. How many times I've heard people say, God's in control. What the fuck are you then? You're not in control of your life? You're not in control of your destiny? Then what the hell are you? A spirit slave to this God? I mean, it's sick stuff that goes on in this realm, and I'm just beside myself all the time. Like, how did it get this way? And it's pretty obvious. Somebody killed all the men, right? And then when they killed all the men, all the pussies that remained decided, oh, I'll be a little boy for you. I'll be a little toy soldier. Oh, I'll follow your orders out of fear. And something real bad happened here, and it destroyed the sovereignty within people. It flipped them upside down and made them slaves to other men, which to me, these ain't men we're dealing with. We're dealing with demons in this realm. Imposters, fakes. And there's a part of me that thinks, maybe all these demons are here to agitate the real men to make us grow. And maybe that's a big part of this, is we need this crazy force to be against us, to really help us tap into that potential we have as men and women here. And how you see so many people shy away from their responsibility of being sovereign. I'm not advocating violence. It's pretty obvious who the violent ones are. And then you've got all these little boy toy teenagers, little toy soldiers that follow their stupid orders, that commit all the violence against all the innocent people here in this realm. And then you've got all the liars in their suits and ties. Just demons. They were never men. And only a coward would follow them into battle. So, I brought some backup for this one because I could ramble on and try to explain this point of view, but I think Howdy Mikowski, in his latest book that he just came out with, I'm going to share some of his first chapter of his book and help you kind of get a sense of what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to play some Mark Passio and go back to that shadow work seminar that he just came out with not too long ago. Kind of help you see, like, you need to change. There's nobody outside of you that can do this change. And it's your responsibility. Like, if you care about your family, if you care about yourself, if you care about anything, you'll pick up what I'm putting down, all right? You don't have some external savior. There's no person here that's going to save you. There's no imaginary entity that's going to save you. There's no idea that you could just, like some new age, new cage stuff that I hear. My guardian angel watches over me, so he makes sure that I don't get hurt. None of that exists. It's all words in fantasy. The only real thing is action in this realm. You gotta realize that. And I just know deep within myself, I've been taking the actions to figure this out. I've been taking the actions to become a man. And I had to go 180 degrees away from everybody else and all their fake psyop stories about what a man is. A little boy soldier who shoots people. A stupid slave worker who works his ass off and then just pays somebody else to ruin the world around him while he just, I'm a hard worker. And to me, I see so many men, and hard work is an aspect of a man. But you're talking about one piece of the puzzle, okay? There's an entire package. There's an entire formula of being a real man here. But you got to go further within yourself to take the final steps, okay? And that's what I'm pushing you to do. It's what I'm pushing myself to do. But it's about time, is all I'm saying. So I'm going to play these clips. I hope you enjoy this. I love you.
Chapter 1. Natural Adults. Then the day came when I swapped or sold the last of my livestock. Now I no longer had any property to take care of, to tie me down. Now I could be what I wanted, a real Sioux, an Ika Wikasa, a common, wild, natural human being. John Lame Deer. The modern world is missing natural adults, and we may have been missing them for thousands of years. We are surrounded by a majority of people who might have a specific biological age, such as 55, but generally they are still a 15-year-old who has gone on to live for another 40 years. This is revealed as soon as they get a bit of stress placed on them, and their real emotional and spiritual age appears. In my life, I can say that I have come across, maybe, perhaps, 500 fully natural adults, and perhaps another 2,500 partial ones. I have met some 20,000 people in my life, so that's not a terrific percentage. Thankfully, most people over the biological age of 20 will embody selected adult traits. Some might be responsible at work, but don't keep themselves healthy. Some might give useful advice, but they are never on time. Some are selfless with some things and selfish with others. But a complete, fully functional adult, those are tough to come across. John Taylor Gatto remarked, "We have become a nation of children, happy to surrender our judgments and our wills to political exhortations and commercial blandishments that would insult actual adults." Just because someone can pay the rent, make sure the kids and dog get fed, and make it to work on time, does not make them a natural adult. It does put them in the functioning adolescent state. Adolescence starts to take a step into responsibility, where mom no longer needs to wake you up for school, and you get to and from your basketball practice on your own. Adolescence is not easy. It's a time of testing boundaries, trying to fit in, finding out who you really are, and risk-taking to see what is possible. The adolescent wants to find their own way, their own personal guiding principle for the rest of their life. Instead, what usually happens is an odd rewrapping of childhood ideas in a package of manipulation and bargaining. Bargaining is the key to the adolescent mind. The idea that if I want A, then I need to behave as B in order to get it. Adolescent actions are usually designed only to obtain the desired result, not for whether they enjoy the actions themselves. If the result is not guaranteed, the action does not happen. When wondering, do I know any natural adults? There are a number of words one can use as a baseline of inquiry. These include integrity, honesty, responsibility, courage, warmth, humility, and mental clarity. Granted, a natural adult may not be at 100% in all those areas, but you could see how they embodied those words in their character and demeanor. You would think this realization of not finding natural adults around would bother people, but in a world of adolescents and children, adults would only spoil the party. Western civilization is designed to make sure that few go past the adolescent stage, because civilization depends on a lack of real adults. Too many adults could see the insanity of everything and refuse to let it continue. They would rapidly force civilization to become harmonious and natural, or they would end it quickly. The higher on the importance and power ladder someone is, the less likely you will find an emotionally balanced adult in that position. The system has set things up this way to foster corruption. Children naturally feel unsure and confused, constantly looking for an authority figure to tell them what to do. This world has set up governments to act like substitute parents, to control a childlike population into servitude. Everything else is designed to keep the mental adolescents focused on self-importance, the fear of the next great threat, and the need to consume. Kind-hearted people do exist in this world. To find one, you have to go searching for people who tend to go unnoticed. They likely don't have a 100,000 follower social media account, nor wear expensive designer clothes. They often live simple lives because they've chosen a different focus from self-importance, riches, and finding others to exploit. You are more likely to find an actual adult as a bus driver, a nurse, a kid's sports team coach, or a farm worker. Coming of age is supposed to mean a specific marker moment when an adolescent becomes an adult. While the basic principle of coming of age still exists today, these current teenage markers, a confirmation, sweet 16 party, a driver's license, or even the strange hazing rituals of sports teams and university fraternities, are not the same thing as this ancient organized process. These modern markers are an event that the adolescent is told that by simply attending, they somehow instantly become an adult. They do not come with teaching from wise role model elders, nor do these modern events demand a large amount of time away from the family, especially the parents. Nor are modern youth taught myths of the origin of the world, the secrets of femininity and masculinity, and how their role as an adult has importance not only creating a functioning, healthy community, but also a functioning, healthy natural world. It is supposed to be a clear threshold that when crossed over creates a true transformation. In ancient tribal times, the community assisted in this transformation from being a boy or girl of their parents to become an adult of the entire community. I capitalized become because that was the point. It was not to learn about being adult, it was to become one. Often this teaching process is labeled by anthropologists as an initiation. I don't like that word because it comes with many connections around secret societies. Thus, I prefer the following terms: rite of passage, puberty teachings, or coming of age process. Most ancient coming of age rituals ended with a feast or party that occurred when the now transformed young man or woman returned to the village. It was a celebration for the entire community that another new adult had been made through the process. This end part is all we are left with today, the party, without the elements that actually create the adult. And the result of that loss is one of the key factors that has created the insane world we currently inhabit. This needs to be clearly understood as we go forward in this work. Humans are not the underlying problem. The systems and belief structures that have been put in place upon everyone are. All we are left with today is a society of sweet 16s and fraternity keg parties. Paul Shepard summed it up well by stating, "In such societies, without connection to nature or saneness, and I include ours, certain infantile qualities might work better. Fear of separation, fantasies of omnipotence, oral preoccupation, tremors of helplessness, and bodily incompetence and dependence." They claim that humans were at the child stage during hunter-gatherer tribal times because they had no technology nor believed in a modern religious figure such as Jesus or Buddha. Then along came civilization, which the experts claim raised everyone up to the adolescent stage, which we are now. But soon, thanks to wonderful AI, we will move into adulthood where we can lounge around the pool while robots do all of the work for us. But these ideas are backwards. Yes, we are in adolescence as a species, but we're not evolving. We're devolving. We used to be in the adult stage during the primitive days. Only when agriculture, civilization, conquest, and technology came along did those who remained, those who were not exterminated, dropped into adolescence to survive this insane reality. Recall that the adolescent can do many chores, but still needs mom and dad to look after them. That is where we are today. A group of people that can work basic tasks, but still demand that the government, acting as mommy and daddy, make all the important decisions for them. Soon, thanks to AI, the human species, what will be left of it, will be children, totally dependent on a machine to do everything for them, including thinking. Most people unlucky enough to be born within industrialized civilization will rarely, if ever, even have the opportunity to interact with a person who has made it to the fully realized phase of self-development, an adult. Even fewer will have the chance to experience this transformation for themselves. This is not a reflection of personal unworthiness or poor choices, but a result of the utter void of culture and deprivation of initiation as people live on as permanent psychic teenagers regardless of biological age. Anonymous.
Mediocre. We're not here to be average. We're here to do great and amazing things. So don't normalize mediocrity any more than you should normalize pathology. Strive for excellence. Not perfection, but strive for excellence. The social engineers of our world want mediocrity and degradation. What do you think? They want people healthy, mentally, physically, spiritually? You think they want you to aspire to do wonderful things, great things? They want you to be some degraded moron. A society based upon mediocrity, immorality, ignorance, apathy, incompetence, laziness, and cowardice. In other words, human degradation is exactly what the dark occult social engineers thrive on. That's what they're trying to inspire in society and create everywhere, because people like that are very easy to control. Self-actualized, powerful individuals cannot be controlled. No way. They're going to tell you to go fuck yourself, and if you don't listen to that, they're going to fight you because they're strong. They're not weaklings. Total human degradation is exactly what the social engineers need to keep people in line in order for their agenda of domination and slavery to continue. These social engineers cannot control or enslave a population that has transcended such conditions of degradation and mediocrity and self-actualized to their full potential as human beings. It's impossible to control that. And that's why they want to continue to propagate all the other nonsense that degrades human beings. And this is what shadow work helps us to work out of our personality to the extent that we are able to do so. It helps to purify the individual, not make them perfect, but make them better and make them strong. And stop listening to, oh, this isn't for you to do, you're not to do great things, you're just some mediocre schlub. No. We're here to self-actualize and attain our full potential as beings. Self-actualization is actually the long-term goal of shadow work, represented here by the tarot card, the magician, who has arrayed the forces of nature in the form of the discs, the cups, the swords, and the wands, representing earth, air, water, and fire, at his table before him while he raises the wand of power, and he is making a connection as a conduit between the heavens and the earth, as above, so below. The magician is the self-actualized one who has attained a form of self-mastery by his behavior in the world. That's why he has the forces of nature at his disposal, because he has acted rightly. He is the magus, the magician, the self-actualized one, the learned one, who has converted his learning into wisdom through right action, his knowledge and understanding into wisdom. Self-actualization is the long-term goal of all shadow work. This means maximizing your potential as a human being and manifesting the highest version of yourself. This does not occur merely through knowledge, emotion, or intention, but through action. The only way we ultimately express the being we are intended to be is through our behavior. It is not through what we know, it is not through what we say, it is not through how we feel, it is through what we do in life. And that matters, and that's important, and that's what will echo into eternity if we do the things that are truly right. Plans of real-world action are what move us closer to this goal of self-actualization. Knowledge is useless without action. The Eastern philosopher Yang Ming said, to know and not to act is not to know. To claim to know, but not to act rightly upon that knowledge, actually means you still remain in ignorance and you don't truly know. You're just claiming to know. That's what that statement means. It will never truly matter how much anyone knows if they do not put what they know into right action. This is what true wisdom actually is. Wisdom is not knowledge, ladies and gentlemen. Wisdom is acting rightly upon what you know and understand. It's action. Wisdom actually is to do the right things with what we have come to know and understand. That's what wisdom actually is. That's the definition of wisdom. This stage of shadow work is directly reflected in the trivium process of knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. We must use the knowledge of our shortcomings and inadequacies, combined with our understanding of what must be done to meet the requirements for true positive change, into a synthesis comprising a real-world action plan that we will actually enact in order to bring about the changes that we seek into physical manifestation in our lives. We have to bring those changes into physical manifestation. It starts in the mind and in our deeper understanding, but then we have to act to make them happen in the physical world. Without action, knowledge is often meaningless. As Aristotle put it, to be excellent, we cannot simply think or feel excellent. We must act excellence excellently. You have to convert wisdom and knowledge and understanding into wisdom through right action. Wisdom is right action applied in the world. Action always trumps good intentions. You could have all the good intention you want. Action is always more important than your intentions. Intentions are not enough. Words are not enough. Feelings are not enough. They must be supported by real-world actions. In New Age pseudo-spirituality, we are often influenced to overemphasize intention. This is all they want to talk about in the New Age communities. What's the intent? What was really meant by that? What did the person have in their mind and their feelings? I don't really care. What you do matters more. You could make comments about what your intentions were, but that's not going to change what was actually done in the world through your behavior. You don't unthink an action. Okay? You don't unfeel an action that you just conducted. You could be sorry about it and know it was wrong, but you did the behavior. That's what you got to be responsible for. Essentially, intention is merely an internal state of emotion in which you are basically stating to yourself how you feel about doing something. It is not the behavior itself. It is separate from the behavior and distinct from it. And it is an emotional quality and dynamic and attachment. Whether any behavior is taken with either good or bad intention is practically a negligible dynamic compared to the behavior's actual resultant effects in our world. What happens is more important than what the intention was. Very unfortunately, most people have been brainwashed by New Age feel-good language regarding intention. The truth of this matter is that intention is ultimately meaningless unless it is supported by real-world action. Get the fuck over it. Get out of your fucking ego and the bullshit New Age garbage that you were fucking lied to about. Action is more important than intention. Always has been, is now, always will be, the fucking end for all eternity. Blanket statement, true forever. Action is the foundational key to all success. You will not be successful in shadow work unless you take the real world actions that you really deeply pondered and thought about and worked through in your psychology. Success doesn't come until the action manifests it. Once again, get over yourself about your thoughts and feelings. They're important. You wouldn't be able to engage those aspects of consciousness if they weren't important and necessary. Don't think they're everything. They are preludes to right action, your thoughts and your emotions. That's why it's important to be correct. That's why it is important to develop good intention. But you have to base that on right knowledge. You have to be correct in order to understand what needs to be done and then go out into the world and do it correctly. This is why skill is important. It's not just about wishful thinking and intention. You have to develop skills. That's a huge part of shadow work. Real world skillful action. Effective action. The smallest of actions is always better than the noblest of intentions. Amen. There's a wonderful prayer right there that everybody should say every fucking day. The smallest of actions is always better than the noblest of intentions. Fucking men. Beautiful. Spiritual warfare requires true spiritual warriors. Shadow work is about building spiritual warriors. And if I read this warrior ethos, I'll probably break down in tears, but I'm going to endeavor to read it. I'm going to read this ethos, what a warrior is in life. This is sitting here in my office, right over here, an actual physical copy of it. I am a warrior. I do my duty. I serve a cause greater than myself. I am accountable to my community and my family for my actions. I blame no one for my faults, and I give thanks for my abilities. I am governed by natural law. My mind is my most powerful weapon. Amen. I train to oppose evil in all of its forms. I will never quit, retreat, or cower in the face of the enemy. I protect the weak. I assist the elderly. I care for those in need. I strive for perfection, realizing we're not going to actually reach a state of perfection, but we strive for it. And I ask the same from those who serve with me. Strive, try, do your best. I lead by example, and I have the highest moral standard. The truth is my constant companion. When the end comes, I will sing my warrior song and go to my reward with honor and dignity. I am a warrior. You fucking better believe it. You better believe I am. And that's the emotion that it brings up in me, you know, because people don't even understand that at all because they've never lived it for a second of their lives. And then they'll say crazy things like, I don't want to be a warrior. That's the greatest attainment of human potential that you could ever aspire to. And I don't mean just physical battle. I'm talking about a warrior for the truth and a warrior for what is right and a warrior for good. Most people don't have that in their lives at all. That's why I wake up thankful. I wake up thankful for that. I wake up horribly depressed because most people don't have that. We are actively involved in a spiritual war on this planet. The stakes of this war are our freedom and our very lives. These statements are definitively true, and it does not matter at all if you don't want that to be the case. We're in a spiritual war. To defeat the enemy that is enslaving and destroying us, we must rise up to meet the requirements of this spiritual war, of this spiritual battle. We will not win unless we meet the requirements for victory. And shadow work will show us what those requirements are and help us to build ourselves up to meet those requirements. Shadow work shows us these requirements within ourselves. It teaches us how to shed our fears and become spiritual warriors who can meet these requirements for true freedom. It shows us the means to rise to this challenge and the means to defeat the enemies that lie within ourselves. That's where the real enemy lies. People want to look external, outside of themselves for enemies. And yeah, there's plenty of enemies there too. But let me tell you where the worst enemies lie. The worst enemies lie inside of ourselves. And that's what has to be defeated, because before we can ever hope to defeat the external enemies, you got to defeat the enemies within.